we will move on to 8, which is the council forum. Any committee reports or anything from anybody?
You want to discuss the airport, or do you want me to discuss
Either
that?
way, you go right.
We had a meeting with the airports, and the FAA gives usually a grant, and this year it happens to be about $150,000 for them to use. And their project on our list was a total of $128,840. So they wanted to add another project, that being the PAPIs on the runway, the lighting, and that was an additional $103,000. With that being said, the difference of that project was $81,840. Now, they had asked the city, they're checking into, this could be a 95% funded FAA project, 95% of it being funded through the FAA. They are looking into this, but what they are considering about doing is asking the city for an additional $5,700, $4,700 to the allotted $2,000 or $2,500. $2,000 that is already given. Now, Adam was present, I was present. We discussed everything from what was planned in the budget and that not being planned into the budget, to giving them a better recommendation of waiting until the end of the fiscal year to come and even ask for that request, but in the meantime for them to see if that 95% funding was a guarantee before they even come for consideration of asking for the request. At this point in time, Adam and I both did not feel that it was the time for addressing the council or asking the council of something to that degree at this point in time. Didn't think it was the appropriate time for it. And the financial state that not just the city's in, but the financial state that everybody's been in from the economy.
Okay, I've got a question to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
I've usually seen where somebody's kicking in 95%, the city comes up to 5%.
It's they split that 5%, so it's actually 2.5% the city's portion.
Oh, okay. See, that's what I'm getting at.
Yep. The 95% funding is 5% remaining. 2.5% is the airport. 2.5% is the city's portion.
Up to $2,000.
Up to
$2,000.
So that's what the city actually puts in.
That is correct.
Our budget says they can take up to $2,000, up to 2.5%.
The city gives more money than that. Is that what you asked?
Yeah.
The city gives more money than that. That's just for projects.
That's just for projects.
They give a allotment of approximately
$9,000
$9,000 and pay for the airport manager.
Okay, so we got 9,000 plus up to 2,000. Plus we do the snow removal. Am I correct there, Bob?
Absolutely.
And how long does, some of those situations take out of... I'm just trying to get a handle on what this airport's costing. And I would like to know how many people use it. And if we keep throwing this, 9,000 and 2011 to $12,000 to $15,000 a year out there, all I'm asking is how many people are using this airport?
I agree. I agree. I mean, that's a concern I have as well. And another thing, the airport, there's an argument on both sides. Keep it going, not keep it going, fund it. There's only a little bit of money to take to fund it, but what they have to realize, what everybody has to realize, is that every time the airport utilizes the grant money from the Federal Aviation, they're agreeing to leaving that airport open an additional year of 20 years that they already agreed to. So in other words, their acceptance of that money says that you're going to maintain and fund that airport for 20 years. Then when you do it again this year, that's another year added on. When you do it again next year, that's another year added on to that 20.
All right, who else is paying out there for the $9,000 to keep that open?
Who else provides revenues to the airport?
Yeah.
Well, they received money in the.
I'm not talking rent of the planes or paying the rent. I'm talking about, is there any other government entity besides the grants they get? I mean, towns. I mean, Lytton,
The county puts in money.
how much do they put in?
Last year it was $5,000, I think.
For the whole county?
That's what the county is putting in.
And we kick in 9?
We kick in 9 as.
And keep it, and shove the snow?
Yes. And pay the manager.
And pay the manager?
But you gotta understand, we own the airport.
Well, so,
Oh, I know, but I'm saying we have to, we have to remove the snow, we have to do.
I realize that. I'm just
Yeah,
talking about what it's costing.
Oh, I know.
You know, as the community, and how much the community's getting out of it.
Maybe we should have a report on, an annual report on the usage of it.
Okay, fine. I'm just, this is what
No,
I'm getting
really, I
forward.
think it was.
Usually on their monthly minutes, and I even have here, maybe next review. Maybe it might not be in this one.
But I just was always curious, you know,
Yeah,
exactly,
this
what
is
are we
for-
getting, how much bang for our buck are we getting out of it?
Well, in January, the airplane traffic was used by Kurt Van Holzen on January 13th and 14th, and that was the usage of the airport for the month of January.
Well, that's a little unfair.
Yeah,
It is unfair.
they couldn't fly.
I
We pay
understand.
her all month, I mean, we don't pay her
But-
just 2 days.
I mean, that's, consider the weather conditions, I mean, and what we had in January, but
That's a little slander there, Brian.
I realize that, it doesn't matter, those costs are still there whether somebody's
But
flying.
here, another point is going up there to plow out for one guy to use it.
Yeah,
And that's one discussion we did have.
I mean, that's another way to look at it too.
Actually, just to bring up a little light on that scenario was, where we don't help their numbers too much either, is that the discussion was made at one time, do we go out there and clear the runways away at a particular time in January? And we sat down and we talked with Julie about it, and the decision was made to wait. And the reason why the decision was made to wait was our guys were already in an overset time circumstances, and we weren't going to pay overtime to have guys go out there and clear a runway that might be used by 1 or 2 people. And they accepted that. They understood the circumstances, and they accepted that that was the situation.
They did ask, however, if we would go out there and at least plow a horseshoe-type entrance from the west around the office and to the east, in the event we can't plow the runways and all that, just to give them access to the office to get into there. That's what they did ask me to bring up to the council, and I think they do have a valid point with that.
And Bob and I have talked with them about it, about how to make sure that they get that type of support.
but you see a lot of different items sometimes on the budget, and you wonder, okay, where's all this money going to? And I've always looked, and I'm not picking on just the airport, I'm not picking on any entity here, or anybody else's sacred cow. I just want to know how much, is getting utilized out there. Because every one of us taxpayers here are supporting that, and, what are we getting out of this?
Now, last year when they came and presented to the council, and my numbers are very, very vague from a year ago, I know the claim made by Milo Lines at that time was that it was generating well over $1 million. I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 million, was it not?
I didn't hear any of that information.
Okay.
I wouldn't know that.
How?
Well, I know one of the things that one of the ways it's utilized is it's a staging point for dusting of crops in the county area.
That's an issue, though. That is an issue because, usually where they make their sales in fuel sales.
And those boys bring their own fuel.
Or it's jet fuel. And
Jet fuel, yeah, 90%.
They don't offer jet fuel.
90% of, that's what I mean, they bring their own fuel because it's
Yeah.
jet fuel.
Exactly.
That's what we use.
So that's an issue, really. I mean, that's something Julie's been battling up there for good. So we're actually even talking about can they even rent these guys the space that they're utilizing while they're coming in, being they're not buying jet fuel, Can we charge them for the space in the room that they're tying up during the crop dusting? So that's something that the commission is working on.